Hey there, Flunky Force. You guessed it. It's another episode of Tyranny, small potatoes. Anyway, this episode is going to consist of like 3 parts. We'll be dealing with finishing up Echo Call Crossing, the missionary to find the iron ingots. Some of you probably watched my episode and were like, wait a minute, where's the rest of them? Well, I found some of them. The rest are hidden in the cabin, which I'll discuss that. Also, we'll be dealing with the Scarlet Chorous, kind of settling some things with them and doing a mission where we have to recapture or capture one of the Fendrian Guards leaders called Petunian. I don't know, it's Roman. So yeah, I screwed that up, and your boy might have started a war. Okay, I might have started. Okay, yeah, I started a war. So that was fun. That'll probably be in episode 3. Like I said, so we'll finish up Echo Call Crossing. We'll work with the Scarlet Chorous, sort out some dialogue with them, and I'll try to give a better a better explanation of how I do things. Because, like I said, I'm still learning how to explain better as far as quests and stuff like that. So, okay, and I learned a cool new mechanic today from a new teammate I found. So I hope to explain it to you guys as well. Without further ado, let's get into it, guys. Here's episode 2 of the Tyranny walkthrough. All right. Now, if you've gotten this far in the storyline and you've dealt with Echo Call Crossing, you know you have 8 days to complete your missions in the area before Kairos' edict is enabled and everybody in the world, everybody in this general area pretty much meets their demise. Alright, so basically the quest we're working on is a 3-parter, alright, pretty much. Help out both factions and then take over the last defense, the last area to defend, alright. Right now, though, before we get into the next quest, actually, I was looking around for how to find the rest of the iron ingots. I did, by accident. Now, real quick, I actually want to stop and hold on a second, guys. Now, I kind of wanted to, like, edit this in, the slow-mo right here, or the zoom-in. Right there is the number of days left on Kairos' edict. It's located to the right side of your utility bar up top. As you travel between place to place, you use up time on this bar, so be mindful of where you travel and how you travel. I wanted to edit that in real quick so you guys can see that. Alright, so find the rest of the iron ingots is kind of simple. After you get done beating the final boss of this area, depending on your actions and what you choose, you'll find an area off to the left that you went past. Now, if you look around, there's a couple boxes here and things you can pick up. A couple random items. Doesn't really hold any real water here. But if you look closely, there's another box, and I kind of right there, the barrel. That contains the iron ingot. Alright, when this happens, this event occurs. Now, you have a couple of options here. This guy's going to pretty much tell you that he was forced to hold the iron ingots for the Fendrian Guard. A bunch of young kids pushing him in to do it. He really had no choice in the matter. You could choose to spare him. You could choose, I think, I chose that he's going to die either way. And that, you know, he should have known better, you know, even though he was forced to do it. Alright, normally I'm not a dick when I play games, okay? Guys, I know some of y'all are like, John, why are you being such a D-bag to this guy? I understand his plight. I get it. I'm just saying, yo, if you know you're going to get... It's kind of... You don't win in this war. There's nobody wins in this game, okay? No one wins. Either you join... You can't join the disfavored because they won't take anybody that's not a blood relative. You can't join the Scarlet Chorous unless you want to be a madman who, like, guts a chicken. So yeah, so you could choose whether to save him, whatever, but that's how you find the next piece of the iron ingot, or the final piece. And then you just take it back to the Forge Master and turn it in. Which I did not do before I had the big meeting. Anyway, not the highlight of my brightest moments. Alright, so next up, after you get done with Echo Calls Crossing, you have to go meet up with the Scarlet Chorous. Before you do, you have this little bit of mini side mission that happens right here. You can decide who runs either of these gangs, or you really don't. You don't even have to get involved. You can just walk away. There's a couple of options. I didn't really go through all the options, but I do know that you can choose whether or not who runs what. You can pick a side, sort of. I just beat the shit out of some dude. It'll ask you, use your athleticism, punch this guy. He's an old man, like you grab him by his beard and like beat him half to death. It's a beautiful sight, it really is. It makes you really feel special and heartwarming, and it makes the Scarlet Chorous like a bunch of awesome people. No, I pummeled the shit out of some old dude, and basically, it really had no bearing at this moment. I don't think it affected favor with anyone. I don't think it did. Yeah, see, you could just choose to beat the shit out of him. I don't know. Y'all can beat the shit out of him if you want. I don't know. I'm just, it's, you know. But anyways, tyranny, you know? Tyranny. I don't know. Tyranny? I will not follow under the rule of a tyrant. Tyranny. Why do I call it tyranny? I have a friend named Tyranny. Maybe that's why I'm saying that. Anyway, so you just beat the shit out of this guy. move on with your bad self. Because see, the option comes up. Just see the bottom one? Brutally assault him. But you will lose, you know, favor with the Scarlet Chorous. Because they deal with their own affairs. It's pretty much how they're looking at it. It's like, listen, I'll beat the shit out of this old man if I want to. It's cool. We'll have a drink afterwards. But unfortunately, I killed him. So, yeah, to engage in that dialogue, to pummel him half to death, you're going to need high enough athleticism. So, highly recommend, yeah, you're going to need high enough athleticism. So, you know, just shut up. All right, don't judge. Oh, another point. When you go talk to the guards, too, again, interaction, depending on how you want to, if you're just aiming to, like, screw over the Scarlet Chorous, just do that. Like, I wasn't my intention. I pretty much sided with the disfavored because they seemed like the more sane, honorable bunch than a crazy bunch of inbreds with the swords trying to kill everything in sight. So, you know, beggars can't be choosers. But in this case, how you engage, little things like this, how you engage with the guards depends or changes, or if, you know what I mean, how the Scarlet Chorous treats you. I think in this case, you know, it depends, like, your interactions. I think in this particular case, I tried to side with them. But nobody in this whole camp would talk to me. Like, you're looking around, like, not a single person. Not a one. Now, before you go off and talk to the 5 voices of whatever, you're going to run into 2 skill trainers. Raz and Rag, something like that. Anyway, you talk to them, get through the dialogue with them. You actually can wind up getting training done. I'll show you that in like a couple seconds. Hold on. So Raz teaches bows, dual wield, and unarmed combat. So my character doesn't do that. He uses one-handed weapons and shields. So if that doesn't work for you, at least you have Verse. Verse does that, using bows and dual weapons and unarmed combat. So that helps you, which can push your characters to level up. Because when you go to these skill trainers, it gives you experience along with training you higher in those skill sets. Okay, so Rag teaches you magic staff, lore, and subterfuge. Nobody here actually, till I get the new teammate, nobody here actually uses any of those. Well, actually, I use subterfuge, which really actually wound up helping me a lot in the next part. On to the creepy lady who could make you do anything with her mind. Charles Xavier's kid. All right, so the next person is up a little bit up above Rag and Raz, whatever. She's a siren. She's an archon of song. From what I gathered, they're kind of like bards in a sense that they can, through song and word of mouth, through their voices, they can enamor a group of people, control people with their voices, bolster ranks, depends, whatever. I think in her particular case, I think they use her for calling in people, like, you know, keeping people under control, basically. The only thing interesting about this is she tried to use you to take the helmet that's on her head off. So it's under suggestion that she might be captured, which she is captured, the way she's like hinting at it. Nothing really happens. I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't get the helmet off. She could control your mind. You can, though, rebuff her if your lore is high enough. My lore obviously wasn't high enough, so I couldn't rebuff her. So nothing really important here happened. If you want to know a little bit more about the dialogue, go talk to her yourself. Some little bit interesting information about Narat, which is the leader of the Scarlet Chorous. But other than that, not much happened. So let's head over to Narat and find out what that jack monkey is doing. So the 2 leaders of both factions have right-hand men and women. Narat has somebody called the Fifth Eye. Apparently this badass dude could hear all things, see all things, does unspeakable, unholy things. I don't know. Anyway, pertaining to him, now, one thing I want to jump back to real fast, I'm all over the place with this, is your actions do carry weight. Remember, back in Echo Call Crossing, I decided to kill the commander running the whole operation for the disfavored. Now, the Scarlet Chorous wanted to save the lady so they could question her, extract information from her, so they could better understand their enemies and help better plan tactics for their allies. Well, because I wanted to side with disfavored, I went ahead and killed her. Alright. Now, in this particular instance, I'm working with the Fifth Eye to extract more information from another prisoner. Okay, so this really, if you have subterfuge, this really does do you some wonders. So, we'll skip to that in about a couple seconds. But what I want to say is, though, when it comes to, like, chat options, I have yet to see it. But when it comes to chat options, my brain's all over the place real quick. But what I'm trying to say is, things like breaking into locks, kicking down doors, your teammates can do that for you, I think. But when it comes to chat options where you have to, like, persuade people or beat up people, it's up to you and you alone. Because the story's around your character. One little side note though, in the discussion with the fifth eye, do not say why can't Narot question the prisoner, because that'll see it will give you wrath with the Scarlet Chorous. So don't do that. Don't tell them what to do with their boss. They don't like that too much. So obviously you have some common sense. You're going to agree with the fifth eye to interrogate the prisoner. Now, the only thing you need to know in this whole entire interrogation, either have high enough athletics, which is 30, or high enough subterfuge, which is 30. It's all you need. Because in which case you're going to talk to her, you're going to because they think she's lying, which she turns out she is. So what happens is she's going to tell you about a note that's in a book or in a boot. If you open up the note, it'll be a bunch of gibberish. Well, Lantry, which is your new teammate, if you persuade the Scarlet Chorous to give him up for whatever reason, they don't want to. He's a sage. Apparently, sages are really valuable because, one, they're magical beings. Two, they can scribe all notes between one another. So, and the reason why that's important is because if you have a bunch of allies together, but they both come from different varying nations, scribes can translate between one to the other, so they have better communications. They're valuable assets in a war. But anyway, so subterfuge or athletics, and I chose subterfuge. I find out she's lying. She tells me, "Hey, there's a note in the book," but because for whatever reason, the note was illegible. You can't read it. We're illiterate. So what we do is we kill her, or I say, "Go ahead, kill her." I didn't say nothing to it. You can decide to save her, I think, but anyway, so she gets killed, but then you walk away and you talk to Lantry.
Coming to my rescue. So I'll decipher that parchment for you. That's what smart prisoners do, right? Make themselves useful. Well, let me see. I can't.
Now he's a funny character. Anyway, so the thing with Lantry is there are two things you're gonna have to do if you want him in your party. One, you gotta persuade the fifth eye to give you custody of him, or to let him. First off, you gotta tell him to release him from the bindings. What you're gonna have to do in that instant is say to the fifth eye, "Do you really want to go back to Narot and tell your boss that you give up a valuable piece of information, or someone who can give you information?" Of course, you go ahead and do that, and then releases Lantry. Lantry then transcribes it, finds out what it is, understands the language, and tells you where to go, which unlocks the Triplete Wilderness, because that's what you want to find, is where the Vendrian Guard stationed. The reason why he would know that is because the Vendrian Guard captured him so they could use his abilities and gifts to help them in their war effort against Chorous, the Overlord. Alright, so he was captured along with a bunch of other sages after their homeland fell, or where they were once from fell. I think Palladium or something like that. I can't remember. There's so much freaking information. Alright, part 2 I'm going to introduce you about in a couple seconds. Alright, so with part 2, you have a couple options to get him released in your custody. You can argue with him, you can tell him pretty much fuck off, normal stuff, or you can claim him to be a champion, your champion. What that means is you'll have a duel between you and the Scarlet Chorous. It's a duel of blood. Whoever wins claims ownership, or pretty much doesn't matter. If you die, he dies too, but pretty much you battle for his right to be with you. And it really was generally an easy battle. He stays in the back. He's a magic wielder. Stays in the back. He's an excellent healer. So really just don't screw around. Keep him as your heals. You're good. Because I don't know how many other healers I'm going to run into. But you can also teach sigils, which are ways to make magic. Well, see, the way the magic works in this game is simply like this. You can create magic. If y'all ever played Elder Scrolls Online, the Elder Scrolls series, and ever played Oblivion, where you created your own magic, kind of like the same thing. You have two variables that acquire. One variable gives you this type of magic: fire, wind, water, whatever. The other variable tells you how it's going to be used. Some magic can be used as healing, defense, enchantments, or healing in this case. So that's how the magic system works in this game as far as creation of magic. As long as you find the main component which determines the type of element it is, you can begin to create the magic. Alright, so keep that in mind. Now, he can give you your first one, which is like the sigil for healing, or to help you heal. Alright, I'm trying my best to build up my loyalty with him. I told him, don't worry about it. You did what you did have to do to survive. Things of that nature. So other than that, nothing really happens. So we're going to skip over to Triplete, whatever it's called, Wilderness, because I'm horrible with names. Alright, so before we head over to the Wilderness, to finish up this area and get to the big main mission, I want to explain how sigils work, magic works. Basically, two-parter, cores and expression. I said before, cores was the core of the magic. In this case, we're using the sigil of life. All right, expression, pretty much as self-explanatory, is how the magic's going to be used. There are different forms. Basically, once you make the core, all you have to do is put the expression in, and then you can make it any way how you want. The thing is, though, kind of like magic level in certain games, in this game, you need a high enough lore to wield higher level magic. If your lore isn't high enough, you're not going to be able to wield the magic or use it, or it can have adverse effects. But basically, what you need is the core component, which determines the element of the magic, and then you need to apply an expression to it. Remember, the expression can change how it's used. If you put fire and you put, like, there's certain ones that could change, like, if the fire could go longer, like if you're using a fire spell, it can shoot in a straight line, or it can make a cone effect, or it can enchant a weapon. That's what the expressions are used for. But it can also affect how much its cost is going to be, or its use is going to be. So if you don't have high enough lore, you're not going to be able to use that spell. I want to kind of give you guys that brief synopsis so you understand how spells work in this game, which I thought was pretty cool that you create your own spells. So in this general sense, none of my characters but Lantry can use magic. So at this point, I'm only going to focus on Lantry and helping him to design new magic. So there you go. Alright, so once you head to the south, you head to the Triplet Wilderness. You run into some Scarlet Chorous men. You pretty much tell them what you're there for. They'll pretty much be they're going to be your backup, and you pretty much do all the engagement. The one thing I want you to bear in mind, though, as you're moving down south to meet up with I don't know what his name is. I can't say it. Anyway, when you go to meet the Fasizifu has laid down traps everywhere. So be careful where you step, because Fasizifu is an asshole. Alright, basically he's going to lay traps everywhere. The way to identify traps is to have first, I think, move in front of the party, and then I think if she has high enough detection skill or subterfuge or something like that, she'll notice the traps. She'll be like, oh, I see something. You'll see like a little mark on the ground glow. In this case, your friend over here called Dumbass didn't know that, and I think I'm about to hit my first trap in about 2 seconds. No, go for the box, because the box is so pretty. Oh yeah, changing out my weapons. Alright, for the love of God, let me skip. Alright, we're done searching the boxes and me staying around like a jackass. By the way, some of the boxes actually have a magic staff you can use and give it to Lantry. Or anybody who uses magic, by the way. So you guys should know that. So like I said before, be mindful of the ground with the spikes and traps. Alright. And pretty much you run into a couple engagements. Barrack, and depending on who's your most defensive character, you got Barrack. Barrack's pretty much a shield wall. He'll handle it all. And then you can either back him up with Verse or yourself, depending on how you design your builds. They're really kind of, well, I got set on easy, but the skirmishes are like 1 or 2, 3 people at most. This when you fight the final boss, though, it gets kind of crazy because he like has like 6 or 7 people backing him up. Okay, so once you head up north and get past all the traps and the skirmishes, which are pretty easy, you run to, and I shit you not, his name is Pelix Florian. Parents did not love him much. Your job is to persuade him, or at least beat him into submission, so he would join, so the Scarlet Chorous could capture him and quote unquote persuade him to join their ranks. They're gonna make him drink the special Kool-Aid. In my case, I killed him because I could have persuaded him because I had a high enough subterfuge, but for some reason I thought it'd be more intelligent just to kill him, and I don't know why. The game's rubbing off on me. It's not something I'm proud of to admit, but so I informed him that they knew I was there. That's pretty much number one. You could choose that. And he's like, "Oh, really?" And then it obviously gives you disfavored with, or gives you wrath with the Vendream Guard. When combat starts, though, you're gonna see the 3, or 2 in the back are his long range DPS. Long Rangers, the eyes of the wrong Rangers are not upon you. Anyway, so they're just deal with them fast. That's like a key. If you don't know how to play RPGs, key to anything is to deal with your long range DPS first. So taking him out, because both my classes, both me and Verse are DPS, we dealt with them too first. But he also brings him back up along the way. Another thing to keep in mind too as well is that when you get done beating all these guys, searching, looting the bodies and everything like that, the 3 more decide to join in. I think there's only another engagement of 3. Then after that, I think that's it. So we get done getting through all the enemies and stuff like that. You run into Fake Limp, the guy you met at the beginning of the camp. And of course, he's not going to be happy with your choice of killing him. At this point, there's nothing you can do about it. So then you just return back to this favorite camp because there's a big meeting, which will be part of episode 2, which we'll get into, or episode 3, which we'll get into tomorrow. Thanks again, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This is Game Flunky signing off. I hope I'm getting better. I am trying. This is not easy for somebody who hates like this. For some, my brain does not work well with this, but I'm learning because I really want to do stuff like this for you guys because it has tons of content and it's constant, you know, for you guys. So anyway, see you next time. Bye.